Howdy folks, welcome back to another episode of Antique Arms Almanac, or if you're viewing this on Gunpost, I'm Calgary Vetterly. And what we have here today is a Hopkins Allen Ranger number 2. This is a engraved one with the deep engraving and stipple engraving, and these grips are faux ivory. These are replacements. And when I got the gun, they didn't fit the gun, so they had to be fitted. But they fit it very nicely now. Now it looks like a nickel ivory gun, and it looks pretty attractive, I think. You know, it's not like some of the high-end engraving. You know, this ain't no Smith & Wesson or Colt engraving, but it's engraving. It does meet that definition. So it's a little 32 rimfire, 5-shot spur trigger revolver, suicide special, whatever you want to call it. And it's pretty typical Hopkins and Allen. These are relatively inexpensive. Well, actually, they're fairly inexpensive when they come out. The engraving was actually really inexpensive to do because it was done mechanically. And some of this was done by hand, like for sure, like this deep engraving. But all these little dots, yeah, they did that with a punch machine and a stencil. But it is kind of interesting. And at the time, they did actually, it was optional, it was kind of fashionable to fill these deep engravings with different colors of enamel, like bright colored enamel, or you could color these green. And honestly, if I come across another one of these guns, I might just do that. It's even got engraving here on the back strap, little tiny type leaves, and this is probably the worst of the corrosion on the gun, the loss of finish, and there is some very mild pitting there. But other than that, this gun is not in terrible shape. It has a lot of nickel left. The main loss of nickel are right here. You can see it's a duller gray. And that's kind of what you should do with nickel guns, in my opinion, is if you have loss of nickel and you are going to polish it or clean it up, you can polish off all the dark discolored rust on steel. And then, you know, when you look at that gun, it just kind of fades away. It's all gray, but you can see there is a transition in color there. So that's the one spot. Obviously the back, as I just showed, is lost quite a bit, and somewhat on the cylinder. As you can see, there was some pitting, loss of nickel right there. Yeah, you can see it right there. This gun mechanically is in very good shape. It times properly. If you pull back properly, you know, you can do it fairly slowly. And we're locked up there. You know, the lockup is good. There's not much movement in there. You just got to make sure you pull all the way back and she'll lock. So, pretty reliable, honestly. You just got to make sure you got her back with these old guns. You got to really do the good follow through. And then she locks. One thing that is not typical on these guns is for these cylinder pins to be in very good shape. They tend to wear out pretty easily on a lot of guns, and that's why a lot of these old pocket guns don't work, is primarily because of worn hands or worn cylinder pins. And what would happen on a lot of these cylinder pins is people would shoot the guns, and because of black powder, you get fouling. Fouling would gum the gun up, and you take it apart to clean it, so because you had to clean after shooting black powder, and you couldn't get the pin out, you know. You'd open the latch and pull, and then the pin wouldn't come out. And so they get stuck, and people would put, you know, vice grips on them, pliers, put them in a vise, and it would F this knurling all up. But as you can see, this pin is in remarkable shape. Now, I don't know if this is a replacement pin or not. It does look original to me, but I don't know. It does look quite nice. This was even if it is a replacement, it fits the gun well, and the gun works. But so we'll have a part here. There's the pin, there's your cylinder, there's the hand kicking out there, and there's the little cylinder stop in the bottom there. That's how the gun goes. And because there's no cylinder for that hammer to hit, you can dry fire it. Here's our ratchet teeth in the back of the cylinder. Looks pretty decent, honestly. You can see there's that one little spot there by my fingernail, and that little spot there, that's from dry firing. That's why you don't dry fire with the cylinder in the gun. Cylinder has a fair bit of nickel, but as I showed previously, one side is absent of a lot of nickel. And you can kind of see that where the nickel is and is not. But you just keep this thing oiled and it looks all right. There is a little bit of corrosion again on that one side. Not too bad. I will say that that side is slightly rounded. You can see that's a bit sharper, but really nothing to get in that big of a twist over. And you can see the reflection inside the chambers. They're quite shiny and clean, and that's actually not really pitting there. That's just some schmutz because I need to clean the gun just from the case and cleaning the rest of the gun. So that's just schmutz. There's just dust, dirt. See, it's just a little fine dirt. This all clean up. This has excellent chambers. Let's see if we can get some video here inside the bore. As you can see, pretty sharp. Some mild pitting. I've seen far worse, and they still shoot great. Yeah, there's just a bit of dirt in there. Really, I mean, this actually has excellent rifling. It doesn't come as clear on camera, but if you got a light in this thing and you're looking at it close, it's like, wow, this has really clean, sharp rifling. This gun is in really good mechanical and shootable condition, you know. I would not hesitate to shoot this gun. It's pretty solid, you know. Cool little Hopkins and Allen. And if you ever want to know if a gun, I mean, usually it'll say Hopkins and Allen right there. Manufacturing company, patent 28 March 1871. March 28, 1871. That patent right there at the top is for this. This is what that patent covers, is that latch. And that's how you know a gun is Hopkins and Allen, or someone violating their patent, is this type of pivot teeter-totter cylinder latch. Yeah, you just push down and it grabs onto the cylinder pin and keeps it in the gun. But there you go. That's the Hopkins and Allen. Yeah, that coming out, that's just a bit of wax. There's wax on this pin. It just helps them run a little better. So, yeah. That's all she wrote.